All right. There we go. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Once again, my name is Cliff Guerin. I am one of the advisors here at WGU's Career and Professional Development Center. We are really glad to be able to provide these opportunities for professional development, some little learning tips and tricks on specific career-related topics. Today, we'll be talking about LinkedIn. And we all learn a little bit when we get some of these presentations going, especially with LinkedIn. LinkedIn is always changing, and so hopefully we can hit some of those changes as they come along, and that will hopefully benefit you in your career development. So our agenda, pretty straightforward. We'll do an overview of LinkedIn. We'll talk about some optimization strategies. We'll look at some of the more popular sections to use. And then again, if these spark any questions or you brought questions with you today, we will try to address those as much as possible. So let's jump right into it. Let's look at it by the numbers. A lot of folks, not as much as at one time, but I still get questions from students asking, is LinkedIn still necessary, or is LinkedIn really important to use today? And I say yes. And not only do I say yes, but 1.15 billion members seem to think it's still pretty important. 67 million companies are using LinkedIn, not only for networking, but also for recruiting. And then I just looked this number up earlier today. We have over 327,000 alumni on LinkedIn. And I believe I'll talk about the LinkedIn alumni tool. We also have a separate presentation on the LinkedIn alumni tool. That is something built into LinkedIn where you can find out where are other peers, your peers, where are they working? What do their profiles look like? It could be a source of inspiration. It could be, again, a source to build your own network with the folks who are going to your same school. And it could be folks that you can connect with to get valuable tips, information, an informational interview. And we could talk about that, what that is and how that could be helpful. 94% of recruiters still are using LinkedIn to find, vet, and hire talent. Now, I know that folks are like, yeah, but I don't know. Are they legitimate companies? I've been applying to jobs on LinkedIn for a long time and I get no responses. I get a lot of that's coming back, and that's unfortunately part of kind of the experience. And we can certainly talk about that on ways to identify, are you being ghosted? Are they legitimate? What are other ways to mitigate that kind of happening? Sometimes there are good answers and sometimes there are not so good answers, but we'll try to address what we can during our time today. So optimizing your profile is similar to that Google search engine optimization principle. The more you have information that's accurate, that's relevant, that's in your profile, the better those algorithms are going to use are going to work for you. So your objective, if you decide to accept it, is to be found, right? You want to be found by the right people, and you want to find the right people. So optimizing your profile is going to help those two things happen: find and be found. So there is something called a LinkedIn recruiter. And this is what we're on the recruiter side of the door, so to speak. They use their own set of tools on LinkedIn as they're doing a search for job seekers. So this tool helps them to find and screen possible talent. So again, all of this is going to go back to your profile. Is it completed? Do you have a picture? Do you have a a nicely written profile and little blurb under your picture? All of these things are going to be useful and helpful to get you out there and to kind of put the spotlight on you. So those algorithms that I talked about earlier, the algorithms are those little parts of data, parts of information that help to rank your content with recruiters. So it's like your resume. Are you using it the right keywords? Are you engaging with other users? If they say something to you on your page, are you replying back? All of this plays a part in those algorithms and showing your activity, and getting you more and more of that CEO, that search engine optimization. So one of the things in those sections will be what we call your headline. And that headline is what's under your picture. We're going to show you a copy of that in just a minute. So these sections also have a high indexed rate when they're completed and really, kind of optimized for that. And it's going to help in that search on their end. Your headline is done well. Job title line, which is your experience, that's done well. Skills section is pretty robust. This is a higher reach overview, so we'll get into some of the details in just a moment. So the things you want to do to optimize your profile by adding those keywords that we talked about, you really want to have your target industry. So if you're in the IT field, but more specifically software development, cybersecurity, network operations. If you're in a school of business, are you in HR? Well, what specifically are you doing in HR? What about business leadership and management? Do you have your MBA? What do you want to do with your MBA? If you're in healthcare and you're in nursing, do you have a specific specialization in nursing? Nursing oncology, radiology, cardiology. That kind of specificity, it's hard to say, specificity, again, helps a great deal. And especially if those recruiters are using AI to do a search and they're using different AI models, that specificity is a really strong part of those AI searches. So it's really good to know that so that you can use it for your own good and your own LinkedIn profile. So the sections you want to pay attention to: industry skills, relevant transferable skills. I get that from students a lot as well. I'm going into a new field. That's why I'm getting my degree from WGU. My goodness, how do I make that transition when it has absolutely nothing to do with what I want to do? Well, you may want to do an exercise to identify those transferable skills. What can transfer if you're working with people, leadership, you have any kind of technology or project you worked on outside of school, that sort of thing. Certifications, job titles, target job titles that you've had, and using hashtags. That's still a thing to do. So at the bottom of your headline, you can put in specific hashtags. So let me give you an example. If there's something, let's say cybersecurity, just put hashtag cybersecurity, hashtag pen testing. If you're in HR, then put HR recruiter. These are going to help those algorithms. It's like the bat signal. It's going to get you out there. It's going to brighten up your, really lighten up and make you more visible for that. So those are really good tips to use for that. You can find keywords, it's like, I'm not sure exactly what the language to use and how to do that. You can do that if you want to use, again, an AI model. If you want to use ChatGPT, if you want to use some of the others that are out there, just use those prompting questions. What are the top 5 skills for cybersecurity analysts? to see where that comes up. So the hashtags, I'm going to show you an example, Sarita, in just a minute, but they can go, you know, where your picture is. You've got a little blurb maybe under your picture. Then your hashtags can go underneath your blurb. You also have your about section, your about me. They can go at the end of your narrative that's there. So good question with that. So when you're ready to add these and edit your profile, you already probably know this, but this is where you find that button to click to edit your profile. So if you look here, I hope you can see that. So Sarita and some of the others, if you look to the right, you'll see McCall Sears profile. That's a good example of her profile. She just doesn't have career coach. She has more information, right? She's a 4-time certified career development specialist, certified resume writer, fostering economic mobility and professional success through relationship building and top-tier career advising. And then she has her hashtags, hashtag careers, hashtag job search, and so forth. Under that, you're going to see those buttons, open to, you know, add profile section. If you click that, that's going to open your profile to be able to do some editing or maybe add some different sections as you're going along. And then that pencil that's near that, when it opens, as you know, that's going to open up your editor. So you can find that at the top right corner of each of the individual sections. And that's where you'll be able to open up that editor and you can go in there and type in what you want. Now, the profile photo, most everybody has a photo. There are specific things and kind of rules, if you will, that you want to follow about your photo. Just make it you. A good headshot, no sunglasses on, no hats, nothing like that. Don't hold a dog. Don't hold your baby. It might look cute. I'm sure it is a cute picture, but it's not part of your LinkedIn profile. You want that to be as professional as possible. 21 more profile views are found with the profile photo. 9 more connection requests are made because it's engaging. My sister works for an advertising company, and she will go through when people apply to jobs at her agency, she'll go through their LinkedIn profile and she'll look to see what is it completed. Is it engaging? What do you look like online? What's your digital footprint? This is one place where recruiters will go to see. She told me that if there's no photo on the profile, she goes on to somebody else because it's incomplete. So you don't want just some stock photo. You want a real photo that you can use. If you need to enhance it with Canva or another photo editing, that's fine. But you want to be seen. You want to get this out there in front of folks, right? 21 more views are made with the photo. So look at some of those on LinkedIn, the alumni tool, and look at to see which ones look as professional as possible. There are 2 things that will analyze your photo. That's kind of interesting. Photo Feeler, and you'll get links to this as well. And Snapper, that'll actually give you feedback on your photo. So again, as a checklist, just you, shoulder and above, a good headshot, nothing distracting in the background, a good friendly smile, natural lighting. I've seen some photos that are really dark and kind of fuzzy. So you want to make sure you use some good quality stuff that you can create. Neutral background, looking at the camera. Now, behind your photo is that banner, right? The default is just that gray kind of banner that's there. You want to do more than that. You want to be engaging. You want that to be as interesting as possible. If you can have it relate to your industry, that would be great. I've had some folks who are in the Livett School of Health that's here at WGU, and they'll put a photo in the back that might be, you know, medical devices, somebody that's wearing a stethoscope, not their face, but you know, you can search for that and find those that's out there. Pretty easy to do. You just put um, healthcare related banner for LinkedIn profile, IT related banner for LinkedIn profile, and then just go through those and see which ones you like. You don't want it to be distracting. You don't want it to be too busy. But again, if it can relate to your industry, that would be cool. Helps to stand out to recruiters. Again, it helps to build your brand, which is what you're doing, right? Building your own personal brand, keeping it professional. Canva has a free version. Canva is a digital desktop app that you can use to create photos and things like that. So you can find lots of stock photos that are okay to use, that are legitimate and legal to use, that's out there. So here's an example. Olivia Wilson, social media marketing. This is her banner behind her. She's got her website there. She's got something that's engaging. So that's an idea. That's just an example of what to consider. Now, again, when you're ready to edit your profile, you might want to edit your URL. That's the link to get you. If your URL has a lot of numbers and letters behind it, then you're not going to be found very easily because that stuff gets in the way. So here's how you edit your URL. You can customize it. You can put your name, / career advisor or career professional. You don't have to, but you can customize it if you want. Again, the reason to do this is that it makes your profile easier to find and to share with others. It's more professional. And for common names, you can avoid, you know, that 2 and 4 letter combination at the end, again, so people can find you and they don't get confused, you know, if you're using your, you know, the age of your birth, you know, avoid things like that to make it customized. So again, going a little deeper with the headline at the bottom of your picture, where your picture is, you want that to really target your job, target your industry. Don't just say looking for work, or don't just say, uh, you know, program developer, or, you know, HR professional, project manager. Say a little bit more than that. Give some indication of your skills, maybe certifications. Now, we know this is going to go into other sections, and that's perfectly fine if it is duplicated in another section. If recruiters are giving more time to the profile like this, then you want to give them what they need to see before they move on to the next section. Give your value proposition. What do you do? What do you bring that might add value to your industry? Even if you're beginning at the start of it. Now, here are some examples. If folks will say, I don't know what to say, I'm not sure how to build that profile. I have writer's block, not really great at that. Here's some examples. So if you look at the top and that first bullet point, so target job title, keyword skill, keyword skill, keyword skill, maybe value proposition. So this could be a formula you can use. Doesn't have to be deep, doesn't have to be groundbreaking, but it should be compelling. Another way to do that could be job title. Maybe you have a couple of certifications and then your key skills. If you're a career changer, you're like, well, I don't have a job title yet, or never, when there's not one that's going to be relevant with my change, then focus on the job function you want to do. Then an industry skill that you're studying now, and then your proposed value proposition at the end. Here are 4 examples that you can see here. Medical record specialist, that's a job title. HIPAA compliance, electronic records, health records. So going into job skills. Promote accurate and confidential healthcare data management. That's the value proposition. HR professional, again, working with certain skill sets. Instructional design, creating engaging content. Now, the last one is the job function, aspiring cybersecurity analyst. That's what she wants to do with her degree. She has a degree, maybe a certification in network security, threat detection. She's studying incident response. What does she want to do? She wants to protect digital frontiers with proactive defense strategies. She's just starting, she's aspiring, but that's what her vision is. So that can help get the attention of those recruiters, and it makes your profile much more robust. And we just started, right? So your about section, this is really where, after they get an idea, they get a taste of who you are with your banner and your headline, they'll probably go straight to the number 1 section they want to really see, and that's your about section. It's the largest where you can type, as far as character count is concerned, up to 2,600 characters that can be used. Don't make it too wordy. Don't make it too cluttered. Recruiters may not stay on your page too long if it looks like it's too much to read. I know that might sound trite, but there's a thing called stickiness, like sticky, right? What you want is you want to create some stickiness for the reader. That means they're going to stay on your page longer. So when recruiters or even LinkedIn, if they're doing like click counts, how many clicks are people making? How long are they staying on a particular page before they move on to a different section? You want your about section to be really sticky. And there's a balance. You don't want it to be too wordy. You want it to be relevant. You want to use industry keywords, that sort of thing. You want the consistency too. So it needs to be consistent with your headline and your professional brand. That's done by focusing on those skills, your experiences, the value you bring. And you can personalize it. You can personalize your about section by using first person pronouns, which you don't use on a resume, right? Don't copy your resume summary qualifications to your LinkedIn and vice versa. Make them unique and different for that unique and different document. But here you can talk about your leadership style, your passions or unique strengths, but make sure they are industry focused, not just, this isn't Facebook. So don't make it just your personal stuff. And again, integrating those keywords in industry skills, and you're going to hear that over and over again, just to keep that focus that's there. Now, here are some writing tips. Again, you can write in first person, tell your career story to some extent. Start with a hook to capture their attention. Include, I'd say maybe 3 or 4 paragraphs is a good number, aligned to your professional brand, and they could look like this. Your first paragraph, you want to answer these questions. What do you do? Or what do you want to do? Why do you do it? What draws you to this particular field? And what motivates you? That could be the hook. If you want people to be interested in you, you want to be interested in them. So you want them to find interest in this ability to read. It's a two-way mirror. So once they're interested in your profile, then they're beginning to get closer to contacting you or making a connection. And then you want to be interested in them by replying to that connection. Don't ask for a job. Just thank them for the connection and request, get to know them a little bit. I know this sounds silly. It's like dating, right? I mean, if you're dating somewhere, you're not going to jump right in and say, "When's the wedding?" Not you're not there yet. You're just getting to know them. So that middle paragraph goes now into your career background, your industry skills and knowledge. Maybe those transferable skills you want to connect the dots to a recruiter. How do you achieve results? And those results can be qualitative or quantitative. Maybe the qualitative results are the things, the values you bring from your leadership skills, your people skills, that sort of thing. And then that final paragraph could be, what are your goals? What kind of opportunities are you looking for? And a call to action. And that call to action is, let's connect. Let's connect today and start bringing success to XYZ industry. Now, again, we're breaking this down a little bit. See, so we're breaking the content down in a few sections. Here are ways that will look like in those three paragraphs. All right. Thank you, Saritha. Remember, there will be a video, so you'll get that in your email. Okay, so we're breaking down these three paragraphs. So that opening paragraph is what I do, why a career in XYZ, my top values are, what captivates me, what drives me towards success. Here are my career highlights, maybe those transferable skills, problems that I've solved, knowledge I bring, maybe my top 5 strengths. Those can be in bullet point format. Technologies I use, that would be really good to include. And then the closing paragraph can be, here are my career goals, where I want to go. Let's connect. Here are opportunities that I'm drawn to. So just to give you an idea of maybe a little bit of a deeper dive where you can find some details with that. Now, your experience section, obviously your work section, you do want to include your jobs, even if it's not relevant, quote unquote, but those bullet points or the details you can include can be those transferable skills. But employers, very similar to your resume, they do want to see, do you have any kind of work history? What kind of jobs have you worked at before? So again, typically going back 10 to 15 years, doesn't have to be that far, but if you need a number, that's kind of a target to look at. For less relevant experience, again, those transferable skills, and if you need to find a way to, compare that, there are other instruments or ways online to do that. Transferable skills coming from other industries. And if you have any volunteer or internships, those are okay. You can include those. Even if they're unpaid, it's still experience. So those micro internships, anything you've done in the past to volunteer that would be relevant, clinical experiences, if you're coming from healthcare or the teaching professions, still adds to your favor. That job title line, again, just to give you some background, that's gonna still have a higher indexed rate by those LinkedIn recruiters and those algorithms. So that's going to be helpful. I'm going to show a way, or it's showing it here, an interesting way to compound those job titles that maybe you can add a little bit more polish to those. So let's look at those blue ones in the middle, like marketing associate. If during the time that you were in marketing, as an example, maybe this person worked with social media, well, go ahead and put that in there too. Social media strategist. If you worked on social media platforms, then go ahead and showcase that. Instructional designer, what did you do? I was a content developer. Go ahead and write that out. Software engineer, again, what kind? Did you do front end, back end, full stack? Specific languages, Python, C++, things like that. And again, taking it even further, you can add some keywords that represent those responsibilities. So if you're in HIS, if you're in healthcare or informatics, put in the job title, clinical information systems data entry, that's the skill set. HR coordinator, payroll, onboarding, recruiting. We know those are going to be repeated in other sections, perhaps, but this helps. And again, it adds more robust, a little bit more robust detail to your profile. The skills section, that's really picked up by those algorithms. And it's really interesting that it's 17 times more viewed if you have at least 5 skills. And I know that the LinkedIn profiles that we reviewed, and we do that, we'll do a LinkedIn review. All you have to do is ask us. go to careers@wgu.edu, send us an email. Can you please review my LinkedIn profile? Add your URL and we'll do that. The ones I've seen have more than 5 skills in their skills section. You can max it out with 100 skills if you want. But again, you want to make sure that at least the top 5 skills are the most important, the most relevant to your industry, because those are going to be picked up first. Sort of that, put them in the priority of importance to your industry. Now, a little bit about visibility and your settings. And you may know this. So when you go to your settings, you'll see this, your account preferences, sign-in security, visibility, data privacy. That's where you can go to find out who can see your profile, who will be informed of updates, and you can edit that. You have a choice to go in and turn things on and off. Now, what I want to do now is I want to pull over. I hope you can see this. I want to pull over this part of trying to grab it. That's why I'm hesitating. Here we go. Okay. And I hope you can see that. Can someone put in the chat if you can see this? You can do a thumbs up or say, yes, I can see that. Okay, great. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, everyone. Perfect. So this is an article from LinkedIn where you can go in and how to manage your privacy in location settings. It will go down and you can click on account preferences. This will give you more information. Visibility, where you control your profile and your network and your activity. And then scrolling down on here will give you, this is where you find it on a desktop version. This is where you find this on a mobile. And then if you're on a mobile browser, if you have that on part of your phone, this is where you can find that as well. This will give you instructions on how to change your password, add a different email address, add different phone numbers, share your profile changes, yes or no, and with whom. Turn that 2-step verification on or off, however you want that to happen. So I thought you might find that helpful. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this link in the chat. I hope it works. And then if you click on that and save it, then you'll have a copy of this page. Pretty nifty. All right. This is somewhat, I don't know if you want to say controversial. It's up to you to some extent, where around your picture, if you put that little green ring that says open to work. Oh, great. Thanks, Haley. Good. You can do that ring around your picture, open to work. I'm hearing different comments about that. I hear that some say don't do it because it looks kind of cheesy to recruiters. But I hear other sides of the coin that say it's not a bad idea because it actually adds another layer of letting folks know that you're here and you're available to work. I think there are other hashtag open to options to increase on that. So it's kind of gray. It's kind of up in the air. Um, if I heard overwhelmingly to say don't do it, then during these presentations, I'd say I'm hearing overwhelmingly don't do it. But I'm not. I'm kind of hearing a balance of, you know, it's kind of your choice, up to you to do it. If you want to, then there's that blue button on the bottom of your headline. It says open to. Click on that, and it'll give you the choices of what to add. And then you can see to the right there with the red outline, it'll give you, well, who do you want? How do you want to be visible? Who do you want to see this? Recruiters only, or everyone in your list? Now, there are all kinds of additional sections you can add, again, to make your profile more robust, to show more qualifications, qualifying elements to your industry. And that could be this list here: licenses, recommendations from other coworkers, featured things that you want to highlight, volunteer experiences, languages, and that's going to be mostly spoken languages if you find that more helpful, and projects. So if you want to use your LinkedIn profile as a e-portfolio, especially those who are in the School of Technology, you can add your projects here. You can put it on GitHub, of course, but if you have it in multiple places, that even makes you more visible and interesting to find. Coursework, publications, professional organizations you work or you have or belong to, that could be important. If you're coming from the HR background and you belong to SHRM, the Society for the Society for Human Resources, that's a really great place to put that as well. You belong to a CompTIA or any other kind of cybersecurity or IT organization, things like that. Just click that add profile section and then choose the one that you want to include. Now, I found this and I thought this was really interesting. It's like, you know, how can you show that activity? What should you be doing during those active times? Here's a weekly schedule. Monday, best part of the week to be active. Send out your invites. Do a 5-minute scan of your feed. Look at your searching for jobs for 10 minutes. If not actively looking for a job, spend some time to maybe look for groups or look at that alumni group to see if there are folks there to connect with. And then you can see how Tuesday breaks down to different activities showing your presence online. Friday might be a down day. You're just, maybe endorsing skills, 5 minutes revising your updates, maybe spend a few minutes reflecting on maybe your accomplishments of the week ahead or before, either at school or work, and maybe you can add those to your profile. So it's a way to just kind of close and wrap up the week. Now, let me look at this question came in from Shane. Where does applying for jobs through LinkedIn fall? There should be a job search. Are you asking how to search for jobs on your LinkedIn profile? Oh, what days to apply for jobs? I would actually say, thank you for that clarification. That helps a lot. I say job applications would probably, let's say Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Monday and Friday, kind of bookends. Recruiters and HR personnel, Mondays, they're probably looking at emails and applicants that came through the weekend. Friday, they're also just kind of wrapping up, so they may not be actively going through applications. So I'd say that middle section of the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, would be a good way to do that. Target of jobs, I'd probably say no more than, let's say 10 to 15. I mean, that even sounds a lot because you've got to keep in mind that recruiters are getting hundreds and hundreds of applications. Even though they're using those applicant tracking systems, they're still getting a lot that are being pushed through to the second phase of consideration, second and third phases of consideration. So I would just, identify the companies and the jobs that really do seem like these are real possibilities. I've had folks take in, pardon my example, I've had folks take a gunshot way of doing it. I'm just going to just make a wide net, and that might not be the best strategy versus maybe a more surgical and say, I found 12 jobs that seem great. I really want to do this, but the top 4 are ones I know I can really be qualified for. Then focus on those top 4. Now, this is only on mobile. This is only on your phone. If y'all know about this, this is where you can take your phone and pull up your LinkedIn app. And on your LinkedIn app, click on the search bar at the top. And when you do, it's going to go to your profile and have recent places you've gone to, recent searches. But on that profile, or I'm sorry, on that search bar to the right, you're going to see that little icon. That's how you can generate a QR code. If you have your phones out now and you're kind of looking at it, click that little QR code and it will pull up your picture, your name, a little bit of your profile, and a QR code. This is where if you're networking and you're at a party or whatever, you're at a networking event, this is where you can share your LinkedIn profile with somebody else on the spot. And under that, if you can see that with Krista here, you can share my code so you can send it to people, or you can save it to your picture library, your gallery, and then you can just pull it up. You don't have to go through all this. You just already have it available. Now at the top, you can see scan. If you click scan, that opens up your camera where you can scan that other person's QR code, and then that will download them to your LinkedIn connections. Pretty cool. Now, I just wanted to share with you that, we have other events and workshops. You find these on Handshake. So these will be found on your Handshake profile. If you go to our homepage for career services, we have a list, pardon me, we have a list of events that are coming up that'll be on the right side of the page. But you will register through Handshake to find those events. There are going to be all kinds that are related to networking, building your brand. We have others that go through LinkedIn best practices. And then we have ones that are using LinkedIn for specific job searching. And you can find those again on our current events lists. Here are ways to contact us if you've been to our website, of course. We do have a YouTube channel. If you will get this again on the video, but if you want to write this down, it's just that this is our YouTube channel. This is where all of our other videos live. And if we have employer related workshops that employers do, then they will also be found here on our YouTube channel. Our email address, of course. If you want to call in for a quick question, you want somebody to call you back, this will go to our voicemail, but this is how you can call in, get somebody to say, hey, I want to talk to an advisor. I've got a quick question, but I really need to talk through some details. It's not a full appointment, but it's a good Q&A over the phone. We have a variety of drop-in hours where it's kind of like office hours. It's not a presentation, but if you want to come and go, drop in, get a question answered, and then go on your way, those are our drop-in hours. And then we are on Facebook as well as other departments and student organizations that are on Facebook as well. All right, folks. Well, that is our presentation. I'm going to go ahead and stop that here. I'm going to stop the recording because I don't believe it will pick up anything else.